Hare Krishna, we'll start with the invocation prayers. Om Jnana-timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurumitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namah. Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Tadati Swapadantikam Vande Aham Shri Guru Shri Utapadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvetam Savadutam Parijan Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishvanu Sutta Devi Pranamami Hari Priya Vanchakalpatarupascha Kripa Sindhu Bevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namo Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, thank you all for coming. First, a quick announcement and a request. So all of you will be responding to me either way for what I'm about to ask you. So a few months back when we had rearranged the class times across all batches, I had explained that when my Srimad Bhagavatam study course will start, so we may have to rearrange the rearranged time. So last week, my Bhagavatam study started. So I chose a different batch so that the class times are not impacted, because the batch that I was regularly in directly impacts the class times, both batches on Saturdays. The challenge with the other batch that I have chosen for my Bhagavatam study is that it is too heavy on me, because the class times are Toronto time 9:30 p.m. to 12 midnight. And then Saturdays I have to do these classes. And then I have a class again on Saturday 9:30 p.m. to 12 midnight. And then I have to again do classes on Sunday. So it's a little bit unmanageable for me to be able to sustain that much amount of pressure for that long. So I will bring up on screen as a suggestion. I'm right now only gathering information, and you all can please respond to me. So one option that I'm considering is that this batch 6 and 7, I move it to Saturdays, Toronto time, early morning, which is 6:30 a.m. And India time will be 4:15 and Nepal time will, India time will be 4 p.m. and Nepal time will be 4:15 p.m. So this is one option. The other option is that I do it on Friday evening Toronto time, which is 8:30 p.m. Toronto time, which will be 6 a.m. India time. So it's this Friday evening time is not there on the chart, but you can make a note, or you can suggest some different times. So why this happens is that this Toronto time 9 to 11:30 is where my original Bhakti Vaibhav Srimad Bhagavatam study course happens. I tried my best to have Mayapur Institute change this time, but it was not possible because in my Bhakti Vaibhav class also, There are devotees across all over the world, and the teachers from Mayapur are also doing teachings throughout the day, throughout the week. So there were so many factors beyond my control. And because of the timing that it is Friday 9:30 p.m. to 12 midnight Toronto time, and then again on Saturday 9:30 p.m. to 12 midnight, therefore it's too demanding on me. And therefore I have this request. So right now I'm only gathering information because Sunday's time slots are already jam-packed. And then for batch 1 and 2, which also gets impacted on Saturday, I have these four options. So for you all devotees, you can also consider that what if you want the batch 1 and 2 option on Saturday, that 12 noon to 1:30 uh, Toronto time will become quite late in India and Nepal. So I request all of you to please take a snapshot of what you have on the screen. And then all of you please respond to me uh, your feedback in the next couple of days. And then at our following class, we will again review what all data I have assembled. Now, if you go with this option of Toronto time 6:30 a.m., which will be India time 4 p.m. Now I understand that Nepal, because it has Saturday as a day off, weekly day off, and you have the Saturday feast at ISKCON. In rest of the country, Sunday off, so they have Sunday feast. So Sunday feast equivalent in Nepal is Saturday feast. So one of the option is that it's only a couple of devotees from Nepal, that you can listen to the recording, and then we can set up a subsequent time that I come in and answer your inquiries. So that will keep you on track as well, that you listen to the recording right away. Plus, there are a couple of devotees who listen to recording, so they can also reconsider that they were listening to recording because the current time of our classes is not suitable. So now you can consider to join the classes. So I'm not expecting any one of you to respond right now. What I'm requesting all of you is that within the next couple of days, respond. What time, what impact this may have on you, and we'll go from there. So right now your choices are that Toronto time 6:30 a.m., which will become India time 4 p.m., which is on this chart on the screen. Or you can pick this time, which is highlighted in blue and green on the chart, which is for batch 1 and 2. But you can swap the times. Or the third option is that, which is not on the chart, is that Friday evening time Toronto, which will be 8:30 p.m. onwards, which will become Saturday early morning 6 a.m. in India. Now you can also consider to have it at a shorter length. So we have 2-hour classes. You can consider it to make it 1.5 hour. Less than 1.5 hour becomes too less for a meaningful discussion. Yeah, I would like to keep 2 hours. It's a reasonable time to discuss what we have to discuss. But you can consider. I will pause here for any questions, comments, realizations. So raise your hand if you have any points to speak now. All right, so take a snapshot of what you have and for the various options. Or you can also suggest some other option which I did not discuss here, that, and we'll see what all works. So this batch 6 and 7 has lot of devotees, maximum number of devotees. I'm pretty sure I will not be able to satisfy all of you because you are devotees across various time zones and you are devotees across various age groups. So I'm pretty sure I will not be able to satisfy all of you with the time change. But again, I'm not yet changing the time. I'm only gathering information so that we can make an informed decision because it impacts the other batch also, batch 1 and 2 on Saturday, and we'll go from there. So everybody can please respond to me in the next couple of days. Everybody can do that, please. All right. The next thing, I'm going to share in the chat a template for our next class for chapter 12. So I will give you an Excel version as well as an image version so you can print, or if you want to take your notes electronically, I will give you an electronic Excel also, whichever is comfortable for you. You can please use. So it's very important that you have the shell document. So I have shared in the chat, plus the chart is also on the screen. It's a pretty straightforward chart. If you cannot print, we can just make these boxes. So on the top part, you make 2/3 left side and 1/3 right side, and then bottom half of a page, you make 4 boxes and times 3, um, like stacked apartment buildings. And you will realize the importance because 12.12 is the single most complex verse in the entire Bhagavad Gita. So this chart should help you make it a little less complex than what it is. Okay. So we'll continue our discussion on chapter 11. So last class we read verses 15 to 20 that Arjuna is seeing the top of the universe, Brahmaji, and to the bottom of the universe, Anantashesh holding the universes. And we'll continue our discussion. So we'll first read the verses and then we will discuss important points. So we are on section 4. We discussed the first subsection. The second subsection is verses 20 to 23. Title is Effect of Universal Form on the Universe. Sumnima will read 20 to 23 translations.
Hare Krishna. 20. Although you are one, you spread throughout the sky, the planets, and all space between. O Great One, seeing this wondrous and terrible form, all planetary systems are perturbed. 21. All the hosts of demigods are surrendering before you and entering into you. Some of them, very much afraid, are offering prayers with folded hands. Hosts of great sages and perfected beings, crying all peace, are praying to you by singing the Vedic hymns. 23. O mighty armed one, all the planets with their demigods are disturbed at seeing your great form with its many faces, eyes, arms, thighs, legs, and bellies, and your many terrible teeth. As they are disturbed, so am I. Hare Krishna.
So Arjuna is also seeing that others from other planets are also seeing this universal form, and those from other planets are also getting troubled by seeing the ghastly universal form. And Arjuna is also, of course, disturbed as well. Now, section 4, subsection 3 is verses 23 to 25. Title is Effect on Arjuna. So Arjuna will go through various emotions and they all will get discussed in these verses. Ria will read 23 to 25 translations.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. 23. O mighty armed, all the planets with their demigods are disturbed at seeing your great form with its many faces, eyes, arms, thighs, legs, and bellies, and your many terrible teeth, and as they are disturbed, so am I. Text 24. O all-pervading Vishnu, seeing you with your many radiant colors touching the sky, your gaping mouths, and your great glowing eyes, my mind is perturbed by fear. I can no longer maintain my steadiness or equilibrium of mind. Text 25. O Lord of Lords, O refuge of the worlds, please be gracious to me. I cannot keep my balance, seeing thus your blazing death-like faces and awful teeth in all directions. I am bewildered. Hare Krishna.
So Arjuna is bewildered. And then section 4, subsection 4 is verses 26 to 30 is vision of the battlefield. Chaitanya Prabhu, 26 to 30 translations. Chaitanya Prabhu. Monarch Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. 11.26 and 27 translation. All the sons of Dhritarashtra, along with their allied kings and Bhishma, Drona, Karna, and our chief soldiers also are rushing into your fearful mouths, and some I see trapped with heads smashed between your teeth. Text 28. As the many waves of the rivers flow into the ocean, so do all these great warriors enter blazing into your mouth. 29 translation. I see all people rushing full speed into your mouths as moths dash to destruction in a blazing fire. 30. O Vishnu, I see you devouring all people from all sides with your flaming mouths, covering all the universe with your effulgence. You are manifest with terrible scorching rays. Hare Krishna.
So this was what Arjuna saw, and these were what Arjuna's reactions were, that Arjuna saw Brahmaji at the top of the universe and Anantashesh holding the universe at the bottom. Arjuna saw that others on the other planets also saw the universal form and they were disturbed. Arjuna was also disturbed. First, Arjuna was awestruck and then he's disturbed. And Arjuna also sees that everyone on the battlefield is getting destroyed. Now we'll go back and discuss important points from the verses that we read. So verse number 26, 27 talks about the destruction. Now, destruction is integral part of material existence. Universal form or the ghastly Kala Rupa does not mean God likes to be like this, or that does not mean that God is inherently destructive. No. Rather, God is himself supremely attractive, loving person, but the destructive aspect is an aspect of material nature. Denying destruction does not drive away its reality. Destruction still remains as real. Now, when God destroys, it is not cruelty. Why? Because that when God destroys the temporary, our bodies are temporary. When God destroys the temporary, it is to make way for eternal. As long as we are attached to the temporary, we stay on in the cycle of birth and death. So when destruction is described here, the purpose is not just the destruction itself. Rather, through destruction, we are shown in stark terms how everything in this world is perishable. Therefore, we should not keep our attachments in this world for long. Instead, we should redirect our attachments of this world to the source of this world, which is Krishna. By demonstration of this destruction of this world, in our heart, the temporary is replaced with eternal. Or if it is not replaced, at least this is what it should happen, that over a period of time, the temporary should get replaced with the eternal in our heart. And this is what being demonstrated by the destruction. So God alone is not the destroyer. When we turn away from him, then we place ourselves in the arena of destruction. You have to understand that destruction of the temporary material world is inherent, is also an aspect of God. Destruction is an energy of God which is meant to redirect our affection from the temporary to the eternal. We have discussed this example earlier, that in a society, the king also creates prison house. So those who are obedient citizens, they are maintained by the king through the laws, and those who are disobedient, they are put in prison house. So the king did not ask anyone to choose the prison house. It is the soul's individual free will or the misuse of the free will that causes the soul to be placed in a prison house for reformment. A prison house, yes, there is punishment, but there is also reformation, or at least it is meant to reform. So yes, as devotees, we feel a lot of pain when wars happen or bad things happen in the world, just as the last week the disturbances happening in Nepal. It is not pleasant. Bhagavatam clearly describes the current state of the world, that unqualified Shudras will become leaders and politicians, which will lead to corruption and mismanagement. Bhagavatam already describes. this as the state of Kali Yuga. But this state of Kali Yuga is just a tiny glimpse of what the real Kali Yuga is going to come. So all these disturbances, like the most recent disturbance in Nepal, they are meant to act as impetus for us to get out of this material world and go back home, back to Godhead. And that's what the universal form destruction is also describing or demonstrating, that don't be attached to the temporary of this material world. Get out of the material world as soon as is possible for you, so that you don't come back to this miserable material world. And when you go back home, back to Godhead, there is no such thing as misery in spiritual world. Questions, comments, realizations? You'll have to raise your hand and I will I'll unmute you. All right. Another important discussion, have undivided attention, is in verses 28 and 29. There are a couple of analogies described. Let's read verse 28, 29 again. It's a very important discussion and very important analogy described in there. Priyadarshini, 11.28 and 29 translations.
Hare Krishna. Text 28 translation. As the many waves of the rivers flow into the ocean, so do all these great warriors enter blazing into your mouths. Text 29. I see all people rushing full speed into your mouths as moths dash to destruction in a blazing fire. Hare Krishna.
So there are two analogies described. First is, as waves of river enter the ocean, similarly, these kings are entering into your mouth. And the second example is given is that as moths dash into fire for destruction, similarly, all people are entering into your mouth for destruction. So what's the difference between the first metaphor and the second metaphor? There's destruction both ways. But what's the difference? The answer is, one is natural and the other is voluntary. So the first is the river example, or the river analogy, or the river metaphor. That river naturally goes to the ocean, whereas the moth is voluntarily rushing towards the fire. So for Bhishma Dev and Drona, the natural course of events beyond their control, hence they had to fight on the side of adharmi Kauravas, and they were going to be destroyed. So Bhishma and Drona getting destroyed is not changing but they're getting involved. They were not malicious. They were not evil-minded. They fought on the side of adharmi Kauravas unwillingly. So by arrangement of nature, as rivers flow into the ocean, similarly, by higher arrangement, by force of circumstances, they could not opt out of the war. Hence, they had to fight on the wrong side and they had to be destroyed in the war. On the other hand, the moth chooses willingly to enter into fire for its own destruction. And the moth metaphor is used to refer to Kauravas. And for these two analogies, Acharyas have explained very important point that materialistic people in the world are also dying, and devotees or spiritualists are also going to die. So what is the difference? What's the big deal of being a devotee if the devotees also have to die? But there's a very, very important difference from these two analogies that the acharyas have explained. That whether one believes there is God or not, whether one believes whether there is life after this life or not, the fact is that everyone has to die. So what's the big deal? What is the need to practice spiritual life? And the answer is the difference in the two analogies. The first example is that when river goes to the ocean, the river's nature continues to stay the same. Means the river is water before merging into the ocean, and after going into the ocean, the water continues to stay as water. Not only the end pieces, even while flowing the river from where the river is to the ocean, the river continues to stay as water. Similarly, the devotees of the Supreme Lord, they are serving Krishna in this world. When they return back home, back to Godhead after leaving the body, they continue to serve Krishna in the spiritual world. Means when they reach the ocean or when they reach Krishna in the spiritual world, they continue to serve the Supreme Lord. Thus, the devotee's essential nature does not change. And if you look at the second example, that when moth enters into the fire, the moth's body gets burned. Now, the soul inside the moth's body is not destroyed. The soul has to go to another body for another existence. Similarly, those who live a materialistic life, when death comes, they are destroyed and they continue to get another body based on their karma, and all their possessions, all their opulences, they leave behind. That is all not carried with them. So death comes to both devotees and materialistic people. The essential nature and the consequence of death is radically different. So for devotees, death is a transition, and they just continue to serve the Supreme Lord while they were here in the current body on earth or in the material world. And after the death, means the transition after death, from material level, the devotees get transported to the spiritual level of existence, and they continue to serve the Supreme Lord in the spiritual world in the exact same way. So in material world, devotees are serving Krishna, and the devotees continue to serve Krishna in the spiritual world after death. Means there is no change in the essential nature of the devotees. But for materialistic people, everything is destroyed for them. Now, another important point is not only the end is different, what I just described, but the process is also different for devotees and materialistic people. When moth is moving towards the fire, the moth does not do any good to anyone. The moth simply destroys itself. On the other hand, when river is moving towards the ocean, the river nourishes all the land on the way. Similarly, when devotees are serving the Supreme Personality of Godhead, while in the material world, they are moving towards the Lord. And while moving towards the Lord, the devotees are benefiting everyone in the material world they come across by their preaching endeavor. Just as a river is nourishing the land all along the way, flowing to the ocean. So the devotees, by living a life centered around God, devotees set example for others. Plus, by their actions, by their words, the devotees share Krishna consciousness to others. This way, devotees are doing a lot of valuable things for everyone while devotees are in the material world. Hence, the existence of devotees is beneficial for the world, just as the flow of river to the ocean is beneficial for all those who are on the path of the river. Therefore, Krishna will go on to describe in chapter 12 from verse number 13 onwards that devotees are well-wishing, compassionate friends of everyone. Thus, the existence of devotee is beneficial in this world, and after death, it is beautiful in the next world also for the devotees. Beautiful because devotee continues to serve the Supreme Lord in the spiritual world and continue to serve without any of the problems that we generally face in the material world. In the upcoming Bhagavatam for batch number 5 for Canto 1, Chapter 2, we'll soon be discussing in the next couple of classes that in the material world, material body limits us. And in the material world, the mind distracts us. So when the devotee goes back to the spiritual world, these material body limitation and these mind distractions don't exist. Therefore, the devotee is able to serve much more and much better way when the devotees go back home, back to Godhead. Questions, comments, realizations? Raise your hand if you have a question. Deepa Chitalia. Little louder, your voice is soft.
Is this better?
Your voice is not the greatest, but try to adjust your voice.
I'm talking through the headphones. That's the reason. Can you hear me?
It's not the greatest, but go ahead.
Okay. So my question is that when we talk about destruction, like you explained, the destruction is aspect of material world, and misery also. I understand could be aspect of the Kali Yuga. when we see things like, really unfair and, for example, children being killed or devotees being killed, little girls being raped and stuff like that in the material world, and then the mind questions that, oh my God, what is going on? Is there really a higher power in this world?
Yeah, so let me
I'm just
answer.
talking about that.
Let me answer. So Deepa's question is that all these bad things that are happening in the world, how can you understand? How do you visualize this? So I don't like to give this answer, but it's a fact that you have to understand. This is how karma works. That if you look just from the current life's perspective, it looks very bad that children or anybody for that matter are getting killed or being hurt or abused or whatever. So you have to understand, we have discussed this in the karma discussion, chapter 4, verses 16, 17, 18, that karma continues life after life after life. And we have discussed the example of a cricket. Many of us are from India who will understand cricket very well. That in a cricket test match, team 1 bats and then team 2 bats, and then team 2 has a deficit of more than 200 runs. Therefore, team 2 has to bat again. Even though team 1 has not batted for the second time, when team 2 comes to bat for the second time, they already see more than 200 runs for team 1 on the scorecard. Why? Because they understand that it's a continuation from inning number 1. Similarly, karma continues life after life after life. So we don't have to use this example of karma. For our understanding, I'm explaining, I generally don't like to give the example of karma or karma as the solution. No, we don't have to use karma as an excuse. We have to follow our dharma. That if we see something wrong and if we have the ability to help the other person, then we try to help as best as is possible. But the bottom line does not change, that the person who is getting killed in this life or the person who is getting abused in this life, well, in their previous life, that same person had done something wrong to the person who is abusing them in this life. So that's a fact that karma continues life after life after life. So we still don't have to use karma. We don't have to justify the bad things based on karma. As devotees, we feel compassion and we try to help as much as is possible for what is going on. Beyond a point, it is a fact that karma plays a role. Deepa, Chitalia, does that help you?
Yes, Prabhuji. One more question. I don't know if it's directly related to the topic, but it does come along with all these miseries that we see in the present world. Like, why were things like alcohol or drugs, something like that, created that people would come into, under their influence and do bad things? What so when I think of creation, and when I see things currently, this question arises in my mind: why these things were even created in the first place?
Yeah, so let me explain. So Deepa, next time you please fix your volume. Up to previous time, your volume was okay. Today is bad. So whatever you have done today is not the appropriate setting. So what Deepa is asking, that all these, say somebody drinking and doing wrong things. So why all these negative things? So this described at great length in Srimad Bhagavatam, that when Brahmaji did the secondary creation, the first thing Brahmaji had to create was all these negative things. And Brahmaji was also disturbed because of creating these negative things. So why Brahmaji had to create the negative things as the first thing? is because unless the soul forgets his real identity as the eternal servant of the Supreme Lord, until that time, the soul cannot live in the material world. So the soul is sent to the material world to fulfill its desires, good and bad, for which the Lord provides the facilities, both good and bad. But the soul first has to forget. And only then he can live in the material world. So it's not why the creator, both the primary creator being the Lord and the secondary creator, Brahmaji, why they created the bad things. That's not the point. The material world creation, which will come up very soon in 13.23, the material world creation, the seed for that material world creation is the individual soul's desire. And I will show you a visual also for this at the start of chapter 15. So it is the desire of the soul to do bad things. Yes, Krishna is providing. Yeah, before providing, Krishna said, don't do this. This is going to give you negative results. But I was adamant. I was like, no, I want this. Well, then Krishna says, okay, I will not interfere with your free will. You will then have to face the consequences. So whatever bad things are happening in the material world, the individual soul is responsible. Yes, many times I do pray to Krishna that stop providing for the bad things. Then the bad things will not happen. But then Krishna says, I do not interfere with your free will. I have given you scriptures, I have given you acharyas, so that you can use your free will properly. So yes, as devotees, we do get impacted or have this negative impact when we see bad things, which is a natural feeling, because when we do chanting, our heart gets softened, which is a natural feeling to have. But then understand that it's the individual soul who's responsible. Deepa, does that help you?
Yes, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much.
Samma?
I didn't have any question. It's just like I wanted to express that I'm so amazed by these two, like the explanations that you have provided for these two verses, because they are like technically just one line verses.
Yeah.
But especially when you said like the river nourishes the land on the way and moth does nothing, it was like it just amazed my mind. So I just wanted to
Yeah.
share that.
Yeah, very good. Very good hearing with rapt attention. This is what acharyas explain. Right? This is the contribution of the acharyas. I'm only repeating what I have heard. All glories are always for Guru Maharaj, and all glories are always for the acharyas who have provided this explanation. And Samma is bang to the point correct. That if you try to read Bhagavad Gita by yourself, it's a one-line verse. There is no purports. What do you understand? But what I explained, the analogy and how it's stuck on Samma, it should stick on all of you. That how the rivers are water before, while they are flowing, they are water, they are nourishing. And when they merge into the ocean, they continue to stay as water. That's exactly the life of devotees. That devotees continue to serve Krishna. While they are living in this world, they continue to help others become Krishna conscious. And when devotees go back home to spiritual world, they continue to serve Krishna without the distractions of the body and without the distractions of the mind. Very good, Sammat. Thank you for sharing. Srivatsa Prabhu.
Yes, Hare Krishna Prabhu. I had a question with regard to pain, and not with respect to physical pain or certain big trauma, but pain such as betrayal, people leaving you, abandonment, this. So, is it safe to assume that all these things are stepping stones for our spiritual growth if we use it properly and integrate the lessons?
You are absolutely correct. We have discussed this point in Bhagavad Gita chapter 2, verse number 8, that there are three levels of existence. One is the physical level of existence, means at our bodily level. Second, again at the material level, is the emotional existence. So what Srivastava Prabhu is inquiring is about the emotional hurt, that somebody betrays or somebody does some backstabbing. They are not necessarily physically being hurt, but they are emotional impacts. And the third level of existence is the spiritual level of existence. So for material, physical misery, say somebody gets a fracture, you have a physical solution, that get a cast and get it fixed. For material, emotional hurt, spirituality is the solution. So definitely it's a stepping stone as long as you use it properly. So we have discussed this point also, that misery everybody gets in the material world. What you do with the misery is determines your next step, whether you are going deep into material existence to darker regions, or whether you are progressing towards spirituality. Srivastava Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhu. Thank you so much.
Pratyush Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. My question is, if we take the example of the river that flows into the ocean and the fact that it nourishes everything on its banks, some materialists or some big industrialists can also make the point that in their businesses they have helped financially their employees, or like their livelihoods financially. So what's the counter for that?
So help as in, but and your question is still partial. Counter as in what counter?
Like what's the argument? Like they can say that I have helped the livelihood, I have given jobs to these many people just
So
because
it's
I'm
still
rich.
temporary, right?
Right.
It's still
Yeah.
temporary. Yes, you are helping. I'm not denying that. But what good is it doing? So when materialistic people die, I mentioned a few minutes ago that the materialistic people leave their opulences, leave their wealth, leave their education, everything behind. And in the next life, they get a different body. They are not carrying anything with themselves. We have discussed this point in 2.40 and 6.40, that materially, after death, we lose everything. Spiritually, we continue. That's the difference, right? That business people saying, yeah, I gave you a job. Okay, but for this lifetime, it's a temporary less than 100-year life in Kali Yuga. It's not helping me get out of material entanglement. On the contrary, it's actually entangling me more into materiality by me having more material opulences. Pratyush Prabhu.
Makes sense, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Very good. Very good inquiries. Rest of you, everybody on the same page? All right. So verse number 31 is a dramatic verse. So I will let Pratyush Prabhu read, and if you can read in a dramatic way. So section 4 is subsection 5 is verse number 31. The title is Arjuna's questions. Who are you? Pratyush Prabhu, 31 translation.
Hare Krishna. Text 31. O Lord of Lords, so fierce of form, please tell me who you are. I offer my obeisances unto you. Please be gracious to me. You are the primal Lord. I want to know about you, for I do not know what your mission is.
Right? Arjuna is asking, who are you? And what is your mission? So we discussed this point in our last couple of classes, that Krishna's Shyam Sundar form is not visible. The Shyam Sundar form has transformed into the universal form. So I described the misconception with the visual, the most common visual, that Krishna is sitting on the chariot and pointing to the universal form in the background. That's not how universal form happened. Rather, the Krishna's Shyam Sundar form was not visible. And the universal form, Arjuna does not recognize who this is, and therefore Arjuna is asking to the universal form, who are you? And what is your mission? You are this fierce form that is. So it is upon Arjuna's request that Krishna revealed the universal form. But why did Arjuna forget? It's because Krishna was not visible at that time. So it's only the universal form that was visible that Arjuna has never seen before. And if you actually read the verses earlier in verse number 30 and verse number 24, it actually goes on to say that you are Vishnu. But then why does he forget? Of course, because Arjuna also goes through the various emotions. And therefore, Arjuna is asking directly to the universal form, who are you? So Arjuna did not ask to Krishna Shyamsundar form, pointing to the universal form that, who is this? No, rather, Arjuna is directly asking to the universal form, who are you? Because Arjuna is completely bewildered from what Arjuna is seeing, the ghastly and humongous universal form. So bewilderment is not caused by seeing the pervasiveness of space of the universal form. Rather, it's the destructive agency of time that causes the bewilderment. And in response to this Arjuna's question that who are you and what is your mission, Krishna did not respond that he is universal form. No, rather, the next verse is also a very dramatic verse. Krishna is going to say, time I am, and I have come here to destroy everyone. Questions, comments, realizations? All right. So verse number 32 is also dramatic. I will let somebody recite the verse again in a dramatic way. So section 5 is verses 32 to 34. Title is Krishna's instruction, become my instrument. So I will let Raksha read the verse 32 translation in a dramatic way, and I'm going to ask you a question once Raksha finishes reading.
Text 32. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, Time I am, the great destroyer of the world, and I have come here to destroy all people. With the exception of you, all the soldiers here on both sides will be slain. Hare Krishna.
Good. Thank you for reading dramatically. Time I am, and I have come here to destroy all, with the exception of you Pandavas. So here's a question for you all. Who is speaking this verse? Raise your hand and I will let you unmute. Who is speaking this verse? Honored Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, a universal form.
Okay. Read the verse and tell me who is speaking this verse. Rest of you, everybody, try to answer. Chanisha.
Hare Krishna. Supreme Personality of Godhead.
Yeah, so that's exactly where I was directing you to read the verse. So who is speaking the verse? Janisha, again, try. You said Supreme Personality. Which Supreme Personality of God is speaking this verse?
Krishna.
All right. Rest of you, who is speaking this verse? Sumnima? Oh, Samma?
Is it the Kal Rupa of Krishna?
Okay. The rest of you, who's speaking this verse? Deepa says time, same as Kal Rupa. Okay. Who's speaking this verse? It says the Supreme Personality of Godhead said. So everybody go to verse number 32 and it starts by saying the Supreme Personality of Godhead said. So who is speaking this verse? Ptolemy says time among the subduers, I am time. So Ptolemy, who's speaking this verse? My question is, who is speaking this verse? Everybody, please try to answer. Riya says Krishna himself. Okay.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
So it's the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, because what I am guessing is there is no difference between the Krishna and his universal form.
Okay. So Priyadarshini says Kala Rupa. Okay. Mansi says Krishna being non-different. Okay. Sumnima.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, is it Karnodakshaya Vishnu?
Okay. Karnodakshay, we got another answer. Okay. Hold your thought. Rest of you, please answer. Who is speaking this verse? Megha says Krishna. Okay. Rest of you have not answered. Do you want to know or no?
Prabhuji, the universal form of Krishna.
All right. Rest of you, who is speaking this verse? Abhishek says Krishna's time form. Okay. Means universal form. Okay. Okay. So let me answer. So a couple of you already answered it correctly that it is the universal form of Krishna speaking. So what Mansi said that Krishna and the universal form are same, that is not correct. We discussed at great length in our previous classes that this is Achinta Bhed Abhed Tattva, that Krishna has his own Shyam Sundar form, simultaneously universal form also exists as an incarnation. It's a different form. So from verse number 32 onwards, it is the universal form speaking. Although the verses say Supreme Personality of Godhead, yes, the universal form is also Supreme Personality of Godhead. And therefore the verse says Bhagwan Uvacha, Shri Bhagwan Uvacha, or Supreme Personality of Godhead said. But it's the universal form speaking. And Sumnima saying Karnodakshay, Vishnu, so that's not correct. It's the universal form speaking. So we have discussed, I've shown you visual that from Karnodakshay comes Garbhodakshay, from Garbhodakshay comes Shirodakshay, who's Paramatma, and from Garbhodakshay also comes the universal form. So it's that universal form, which is also another incarnation of the Supreme Lord, just not an eternal incarnation, but it's the universal form speaking the verses from verse number 32 onwards. And around verse number 50 or 51 is when the transfer will happen back to the Shyam Sundar form of Krishna. Everybody on the same page? All right, so Arjuna asked two questions in verse number 32. Who are you and what is your mission? So Krishna responds to both these points in the very first line in a very dramatic way. Time I am, the destroyer of all worlds, and I have come here to destroy everyone. And then if you look at the verse number 32 Sanskrit, in the third line, there is an important word, which is rate api. So Acharyas have explained the two meanings of the word rate api. That even without you, Arjuna, I will destroy all these warriors. And the second meaning of Ratyapi is, except you Pandavas, I have come here to destroy everyone on the battlefield on both sides. Meaning Krishna is saying that Arjuna, even if you don't fight, still I have come here as time and I am going to destroy everyone. Now, I'm going to describe more than what is in Bhagavad Gita at this point about time. So this is coming from Srimad Bhagavatam, but it is very relevant here that Krishna says, time I am. So I am going to describe to you what is time. And I'm going to ask you questions and you all please try to answer. So first question is, what is time? In Srimad Bhagavatam, in Canto 1, Chapter 8, Kunti Maharani says, and other places also is described, that time is actually Bhagwan. This is 1.8.28. That time is energy of God and time is the fourth dimension. So we know the three dimensions as length, breadth, and width. And time is the fourth dimension. The qualities of time are time transforms or time develops, then time maintains, and time destroys. Now we hear many times that time is more valuable than money. So why is time more valuable than money? The answer is, and you will hear many times, you might have also said this, that many say time is money because one, time is irrecoverable. And second, time is unstorable. So money can be earned again and money can be saved, but time cannot be saved. Therefore, Srimad Bhagavatam describes this point that one should be very stout in not wasting time at all. So multiple devotees from a couple of weeks ago during my Guru Maharaj's visit, they had this practical experience that they had a 10-minute break between the end of the first session and the start of the next session. I did not let them waste time, that 10 minutes. All devotees came to the kitchen and cut salad for more than 150 to almost 200 devotees in 10 minutes. And that too very nicely, not like randomly. No, they cut it very, very nicely. Right? This is what's real spiritual is. And I had learned this from my Guru Maharaj, that my Guru Maharaj did not have time to meet everyone, but he had to go for a walk. So he's using the walk time as meeting time, that he will give instructions to his disciples while he is walking. Therefore, we have to be very, very stout in not wasting time at all. Whatever little time you have, spend on Krishna consciousness. Now, you must have also heard, or you might have also said by yourself, that now is not a good time to meet. So what does it mean when someone says now is not a good time to meet? The answer is, it means that you are under the control of time. You may want to do lot many things, but because of limited time, and because you are under the control of time, you can only do so much. The next point is why one is fearful of time. The answer is, what makes time fearful in the material world is that time controls and time destroys. The last point on time, I want all of you to answer this question. Is there time in the spiritual world? Everybody, please try to answer.
No, Prabhuji.
Okay. Srivatsa?
No, Prabhu.
Okay. Deepa, Chaitanya?
I think there is, in the sense how we calculated or discussed about the age of, like one day of Brahma, the kind of,
Deepa, there is very loud voice behind you. Your voice is not clear. If you want to get to a silent place and speak your point again.
I think there is time in spiritual world, because that's how we discuss about one day age of Brahmaji
Yeah,
and
so Brahmaji is
other
still in the
levels.
material world.
Oh,
Okay. Right? My question is there time in the spiritual world? Sumnima?
Probably no, Prabhuji.
Okay. Ritu?
Yes, Prabhuji.
All right. We got one different answer. Rest of you, everybody, please try to answer. And why I'm grilling you is that just as Samma pointed out that it's stuck on her, this point should also stick on you. Okay. Everybody, please try to answer. Is there time in the spiritual world or not? Majority of you have said no, and Ritu has a unique answer saying yes. Okay. Everybody,
I
please
don't
answer.
know, Prabhuji.
Okay.
No,
Time,
Prabhuji.
there is time, but does not control anyone.
Okay. So Matan Prabhu also has a different answer. So Deepa says no. Okay, there are many of you who have not answered.
No, Prabhuji.
Okay, no.
No, I don't think so.
Okay, Polami says no idea, would like to know. Okay, rest of you are silent. You don't
No,
know.
Prabhuji.
Okay, anybody wants to know who have not answered? Yeah, so many of you have not answered. Is there time in the spiritual world or not? Would you like to know or not? Okay, Subhash Prabhu says no, but would like to know. Okay, Abhishek Prabhu.
Like to know.
Okay, Janisha.
I think it exists, Prabhuji.
All right. Okay, so few of you also answered in the chat. So let me answer. So in the material world, time transforms as well as develops, plus time maintains, plus time destroys. In the spiritual world, time also exists. In the spiritual world, time transforms or time develops. But in the spiritual world, time does not control, time does not destroy. In the spiritual world, time does not control, neither destroys, because time is controlled by Krishna, time is servant of Krishna. In the spiritual world, time expands according to Krishna's desire to extend his Rasa Leela, because time is Krishna's servant. And a perfect example for time expanding and time shrinking is that when Krishna was here on material world, here in the material world, so at that, wherever there is Krishna, time is servant of Krishna, even in the material world. So Akrura was sent by Kamsa to get Krishna and Balram to Mathura. At that time, Krishna was having Ras Leela with the gopis. So Krishna wanted to enjoy the Ras Leela more, therefore he needed more time. Simultaneously, Akrura is a pure devotee and Akrura was in constant remembrance of Krishna, and Krishna wanted Akrura to relish this remembrance more. So when Akrura was traveling from point A to point B, it should have taken about 1 hour or so for Akrura to travel from point A to point B to reach Krishna and Balram. He was on a chariot. But that same length of time got expanded, and it took Akrura about 12 hours to travel at the same speed he was traveling. Why? Because time expanded. For both things, for Krishna to enjoy the Ras Leela more, as well as to give Akrura the relishing of Krishna's remembrance more and more. Onat Prabhu?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. So, Prabhu, my question is like wherever the time is, there is a start and end, but in spirituality, there is a eternity. So, Prabhu, how can I understand this existence of time in spiritual world?
Yeah, the start and end. So this is described in Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3 at great length. There are a lot of verses on time in particular section of Kapila Siksha. That's exactly Lord Kapila says. So Lord Kapila is Krishna himself, and Lord Kapila is explaining time. He says there is a start and end. That is in the material world. And in the spiritual world, there is no start and end. It's just an energy. So understand that many things that we have not seen, not experienced from the spiritual world, unless we get beyond a certain level of purification, it is going to be hard to understand. So I'm explaining what is there from scriptures, that yes, there is time in the spiritual world, but time in the spiritual world does not control anything. The beginning and end is a feature of material world, not of the spiritual world. So yes, that beginning and end happens by time. This is described in Srimad Bhagavatam at great length. But in the spiritual world, time is just an energy to serve Krishna, whatever Krishna wants. Monad Prabhu.
Got it, Prabhu. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Shivatsa Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. So my question was regarding not with the nature of time. The nature of time is perhaps a principle. My question is the entity that it affects. So not just the individual entities, but also the yuga cycles that we exist in. So with different yuga cycles, where the nature of consciousness, mass consciousness and individual consciousness is different, the nature of time essentially is also different, is it not? The way it is affecting the entities.
That is not correct. In the material world, so this is described at great length in Srimad Bhagavatam in Canto 3, where Lord Kapila has explained time in great detail, that in the material world, time is, what we know. In Srimad Bhagavatam, it describes as the smallest length of time to the largest length of time across all yugas is identical. It does not change.
Yeah,
Yes,
but the experience, I'm saying,
no, it does not
of
change.
the individual, no, time does
Your
not change.
your lifespan is different in different
Ah,
yugas.
yes.
But the time on itself does not change what is there in material world. So the smallest length of time is the amount of time the sun, let me finish, the amount of time the sun takes to cross the smallest atom. Now this atom is also described at great length in Srimad Bhagavatam for the time. That's the smallest length of time. And the longest length of time is the entire lifespan of Brahmaji, which is 311 trillion, 40 billion, few million years. That's the longest length of time. So the experience, I understand. In Kali Yuga, somebody has 100 years lifespan, so they will experience their life for 100 years. While in Satyug, somebody has a lifespan of 100,000 years, they will experience life in the material world for 100,000 years, but that has nothing to do with time. That has to do with their lifespan, not time. Time does not change from the moment material world is created. And in Srimad Bhagavatam, the creation cycle is described. Time is among the very first thing that gets manifested in the material world. And for entire creation, for each step, there is step-by-step process described in Bhagavatam. Time is required for each step because time transforms. Time does not change in material world unless it becomes spiritual when Krishna is here, then time expands. But for us at the material level, time stays the same for all of us. And therefore, we say, well, now is not a good time. Why? Because we are under the control of time and we cannot store time. We cannot expand time. Shiva Sabru.
Okay. But which is higher, consciousness or time? Because
Both are energies of the Lord. It's not a comparison.
because
Both,
essentially,
let me finish. So consciousness, meaning the soul from where the consciousness comes, is also an energy of the Lord, and time is also an energy of the Lord. There is no such thing as comparison. In the material world, there is comparison that time is higher, that time is the supreme controller. Everything that happens in the material world happens because of time. This is described at great length in Srimad Bhagavatam. At the spiritual level, there is no such thing of comparison between time and soul because both are energies of the Lord. Material world, yes, time is higher.
yes, reason I'm asking is because essentially everything that holds it is one of the fabrics that holds the material world together.
Correct.
But then there is it is also a threshold that you can transcend in order to reach spiritual consciousness. So that chit, the essence of the chit is just changing, but it transcends. Whereas time, after a certain point, ceases to be, like you said, ceases to hold control. So that is why I'm asking, ki, um, um, is it possible to, live in this world? Because the yogic process and spiritual ascension, the spiritual processes, essentially is to escape the grasp of kala or time, is it not?
So you said so many points, and let me
Hmm.
explain what you are
Okay,
saying.
Prabhu. Maybe it's
So,
to expand. Yeah.
yeah, so try, like I'm not sure what your question is, but let me try to explain what you're saying, and it will clarify your understanding.
Okay, Prabhu.
So in the material world, the soul is covered with the covering of body and mind.
Hmm.
While the soul is covered with the covering of body and mind, time is supreme. Time controls the soul because soul at that time does not have that much of an influence.
Hmm.
Time controls everything as long as the soul is conditioned. When the
Hmm.
soul becomes purified, that's when the soul will be able to give up the covering of the body and mind and transcend material existence, transcend the modes, not transcend the time,
The word.
transcend the modes to go beyond material existence to spiritual world.
Hmm.
Right? So these, they exist simultaneously in the spiritual world. Time and soul, both as energies, exist simultaneously in the spiritual world. There is no such thing as comparison between time and the soul.
Hmm.
Does that help you?
Yes, Prabhu. Yes, Prabhu. It does. Thank you.
All right. Everybody on the same page? Questions, comments, realizations? Silence. I got silence. Everybody silenced from the discussion on time. Anyway, the discussion on time is more than what is described in the verses. I describe more just to add depth to our discussion. Let's read verses. Subhash Prabhu, verse number 33, translation. Subhash Prabhu seems, yeah, he's there. Subhash Prabhu, are you able to unmute?
Yeah, Prabhuji, I just able to unmute. Verse number 33. Therefore, get up, prepare to fight and win glory, conquer your enemies, and enjoy a flourishing kingdom. They are already put to death by my arrangement, and you, O Sabyasachi, can be but an instrument in the fight.
A very well-known verse, Nimitta Matram, that you just be an instrument in the fight. So many of you are also preachers and book distributors. Those of you who come for book distribution with me, I get you to read this verse that we are not distributing any books. We are just nimitta matram. We are just trying to be instruments in the hands of Krishna. So this is Krishna's direct instruction for all of us, that we have to become instruments in Krishna's mission. So this knowledge that all are already killed by Krishna is an additional impetus for Arjuna to fight and is not a license to become passive. Arjuna did not say that since you have already killed them, so I will relax. No, Arjuna did not say this. Arjuna did not say that I will relax. Rather, Arjuna took up responsibility. Arjuna says, Krishna, your will is my will. I will execute your will. So the idea of Krishna showing the future to Arjuna that everyone is killed is to offer an assurance, not to offer a license, rather to give an assurance. So license means you can do whatever you want. And assurance means you should do this, but if you have some hesitation whether there will be success or not, so I am giving you assurance. Therefore, what you should do is become nimitta matram, that you just become my instrument. Priya Darshini, 34 translation, straightforward verse.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Text 34. Drona, Bhishma, Jayadratha, Karna, and the other great warriors have already been destroyed by me. Therefore, kill them and do not be disturbed. Simply fight and you will vanquish your enemies in battle. Hare Krishna.
Straightforward verse where Krishna is talking about the future state. Questions, comments, realizations? All right. So before we discuss the next set of verses, which is the next section 6, here's a question for all of you. We discussed this question earlier, that when God, Krishna, comes in front of you, what will you do? What will you say? Everybody quickly answer. Somebody? Srivatsa?
I will say, take me home.
Okay, that's not what we have discussed. Sumnima?
Hare Krishna, I'll just bow down, offer my obeisances, and just then appreciate or do the things that we usually do in front of Krishna in the temple.
Okay, so Ria said one says sentence to Deepa says beg for mercy. That's not what we have discussed. We have discussed at great length what to do when Krishna God comes in front of you. Subhash? Unmute.
Yeah. So we discussed like first we offer the obeisances and we glorify the Lord, and then after we ask for forgiveness and say thank you for your darshan, and we ask for spiritual benediction, not any material things, and we offer again for obeisances before we leave.
Yeah, very good. Some of you also mentioned this point in the chats. Very good. Matan Prabhu?
Yeah, same as Subhash Prabhu said.
Okay, very
Over
good.
obeisances, glorify Krishna, ask for forgiveness,
Yeah.
ask for spiritual benediction, over gratitude.
Okay, very good. So in this section 6, verses 36 to 46, which is titled Arjuna's Prayers to the Universal Form, Arjuna is going to demonstrate those steps, what we discussed at the start of chapter 10. Arjuna is going to demonstrate those same steps because he is seeing the Supreme Lord in the universal form for the first time. So this section 6 is split into 4 subsections. Subsection 1 is verses 36 to 38. So these first 3 are glorifications. Subsection 2 is verses 39 to 40. These are offering obeisances. Subsection 3 is 41 to 44. These 4 verses are asking for an apology, that Arjuna is asking for forgiveness because Arjuna took the Lord for granted. And subsection 4 is verses 45 to 46. Request to show the Saumya Rupa, that first show the Vishnu Rupa, the four-handed Vishnu form, and then show the two-handed Shyam Sundar form. So that's a spiritual request to wanting to see the Vishnu form and the Shyam Sundar form. So verse number 35 is one verse in between that Sanjaya speaks. He's describing the trembling Arjuna. Is now going to speak the following. He's just saying the one verse in between. Matan Prabhu, 35 translation. Matan Prabhu.
Oh, sorry. Okay, sorry. Text 35. Sanjaya said to Dhritarashtra, O king, after hearing these words from the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the trembling Arjuna offered obeisances with folded hands again and again. He fearfully spoke to Lord Krishna in a faltering voice as follows.
Okay. So now 36 to 38 are the glorification. Ritu will read 36 to 38 translations.
Hare Krishna, text 36. Arjuna said, O master of the senses, the world becomes joyful upon hearing your name, and thus everyone becomes attached to you. Although the perfected beings offer you their respectful homage, the demons are afraid and they flee here and there. All this is rightly done. Text 37. O great one, greater even than Brahma, you are the original creator. Why then should they not offer their respectful obeisances unto you? O limitless one, God of gods, refuge of the universe, you are the invincible source, the cause of all causes, transcendental to this material manifestation. Text 38. You are the original personality of Godhead, the oldest, the ultimate sanctuary of this manifested cosmic world. You are the knower of everything, and you are all that is knowable. You are the supreme refuge about the material modes. O limitless form, this whole cosmic manifestation is pervaded by you. Hare Krishna.
So when the Lord appears, saintly people become jubilant and demoniac people become fearful. So the sages start offering prayers and obeisances, and this point about rightly done is the correct word. That all this is sthane, means rightly done, means the sages become jubilant, the demoniac become fearful, and the sages start offering prayers and obeisances. All this is rightly done when the Lord appears. All right. Here's a simple question for all of you. All of you, please try to answer. How do you offer obeisances? Simple question. How do you offer obeisances? Srivatsa Prabhu.
By folding your hands.
Okay. Rita.
We should bow down and with the folded hands offer the obeisances.
Okay. Rest of you, you all offer obeisances, I think. How do you offer obeisances? A simple request. Monarch Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, bowing down and then reciting mantra.
Okay. Priya also says humbly respecting. Okay. Paulami also says that what we discussed in how to offer that, keep the heart on the left side, pull hands to touch. Okay, good. Okay. Rest of you, Priya also says bowing and folded hands. Okay. Simple question. How do you offer obeisances? Does that mean rest of you don't offer obeisances? Anisha?
Folding hands sometime mentally and verbally.
Okay. Subhash Prabhu also says falling down on the ground. Okay. So let's see how Arjuna is offering obeisances, and we will discuss this. So I'm not sure if you caught this point in the last Srila Prabhupada's lecture that I sent you, because the point was also there in the title of the lecture. Let me point to it. So Samma verses 39 to 40 translations.
Verse 39. You are air and you are the supreme controller. You are fire, you are water, you are the moon. You are Brahma, the first living creature, and you are the greatest grandfather. I therefore offer my respectful obeisances unto you 1,000 times and yet again. Verse 40. Obeisances to you from the front, from behind, and from all sides. O unbounded power, you are the master of limitless might. You are all pervading, and thus you are everything.
Right? So how is Arjuna offering obeisances? That he's saying 1,000 times and again and offering obeisances from front, from behind, and from all sides. How do you understand this? So normally when we go to temple, we offer obeisances to Gopinath one time, the way we discussed towards the end of chapter 2, and some of you properly described in the chat. But why is Arjuna offering obeisances 1,000 times and from front and from back and from all sides? Is because universal form is everywhere. So where do you start from offering obeisances? In the front or at the back or right or left? Well, universal form is everywhere. So where do you not offer obeisances or where do you offer obeisances? Therefore, Arjuna is saying that I offer obeisances to you from all directions. So this also shows what we previously discussed, that how universal form has been manifested differently at different times. That for Mother Yashoda, the universal form was in Krishna's mouth in front of Mother Yashoda, and when Krishna closed his mouth, the universal form was no longer visible, but Krishna was visible. To Arjuna, Krishna was not visible, only the universal form was visible. So the point is that it is manifested differently at different times. And then the next three verses, which is 41 to 44, is Arjuna asking for forgiveness for taking the Lord for granted. Mansi will read 41 to 44 translations.
Text 41. Thinking of you as my friend, I have rashly addressed you, O Krishna, O Yadava, O my friend, not knowing your glories. Please forgive whatever I may have done in madness or in love. I have dishonored you many times. Jesting as we relaxed, lay on the same bed, or sat or ate together, sometimes alone and sometimes in front of many friends. O fightable one, please excuse me for all those offenses. Verse 34. You are the father of this complete cosmic manifestation, of the moving and non-moving. You are you are its worshipable chief, the supreme spirit's master. No one is equal to you, nor can anyone be one with you. How then could there be anyone greater than you within the three worlds? O Lord of immeasurable power. Text 44. You are the Supreme Lord, to be worshipped by every living being. Thus, I fall down to offer you my respectful obeisances and ask your mercy. As Father tolerates the uh, impodi- uh, impedance of his son, O friend of impatience of friend, or a husband of the familiarities of his wife, please tolerate the wrongs I may have done to you. Hare Krishna.
So this set of verses about asking for forgiveness are important. And Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, a prominent acharya in disciplic succession, explains the meaning of these verses. That what Arjuna is saying, that Arjuna is saying that Arjuna, that I am king, and you, Krishna, you are simply a member of royal family. Meaning, when Krishna was there, the Ugrasen was the king, and you, Krishna, you were just a member of the royal family. You are you are not the greatest. That's what Arjuna says, that I was thinking. That you are just one of the Yadus. You are not the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And what Arjuna is going for, saying that Arjuna, I have done a favor to you, Krishna, by being your friend. Because I was king and you were just a member of the royal family. This is what Arjuna was thinking, and that's why he's speaking this verse and asking for forgiveness for taking the Lord for granted. Meaning, what Arjuna is saying, that Arjuna, was thinking that you, Krishna, you are not the greatest of the Yadus, but you are just, one of the Yadus. And Arjuna is now saying that now that he realizes that Krishna is Supreme Personality of Godhead, therefore Arjuna is saying, oh, that was a terrible error of judgment on my part, that I took you for granted, oh my Lord. So Arjuna says that when I spoke to you earlier and behaved as if I, Arjuna, was the superior to you, Krishna, is because either out of madness or out of love? And in the next two verses, 43 and 44, Arjuna gives arguments as to why Krishna should forgive Arjuna. Arjuna is saying that how foolish I was to think of you, Krishna, as just one of the Yadus, and to simultaneously think that I, Arjuna, was greater than you, Krishna, just because I, Arjuna, was the king. In reality, no one can be equal to you, Krishna. Well, if no one can be equal to you, how can anyone be greater than you? And Srila Prabhupada quotes some verses in verse number 43 that how there is no one equal to or greater than Krishna. And then in verse number 44, Arjuna concludes his forgiveness request by offering obeisances, and he gives three examples that whenever there is intimacy and in love, sometimes there can be some intimate speech which is not considered offensive just because of the familiarity or just because of the closeness of the relationship. And that's what Arjuna gives the three examples. First, he says, just when a son behaves inappropriately, the father forgives because there is closeness of the relationship. And then another example he gives that the friends may taunt or tease the other friend, but if the other friend forgives because there is close relationship. Or just as the loving husband and wife, they may get angry at each other and chastise each other or speak strong words or speak intimacy or of love. So all those strong words between husband and wife, they don't really mean it, right? It's just because they have intimate relationship and they may speak in such teasing way. So an example that in love, one may say, like the husband and wife, they may say, "You are rascal." Well, the husband and wife, the other spouse may not mind it because they are having an intimate relationship. They know that that he didn't really mean it or she didn't really mean it. It's just that they are using such strong words. They have close relationship. But if an ordinary person says you are rascal to a third person, well, the other person will pick up a sword. What do you mean? Because rascal is a strong word. But because such strong words are spoken with love, then the other person is not feeling that same level of anger. Plus, because there is intimate relationship, just as between father and son, between friends, and between husband and wife. So generally, when there is love, there is trust. And when there is trust, then one sees the intentions beyond the actions. And even if actions are not proper, one sees the intentions and understand that the person actually meant well. Well, he might have used the word rascal, but actually he didn't really mean it. Somehow he used the harsh word at that time. But when there is no trust, even when there are good actions, we wonder what are his intentions. Maybe the person is flattering so that he can get something out of me. Hence, when trust is low or trust is not there, one suspects everything. Even when there are good actions, one still suspects that there must be some ulterior motive. And then subsection 4 is verses 45 to 46. Title is Request to Show the Saumya Rupa. That first show the four-handed, Vishnu form and then the Saumya Rupa. So we're going to hear Chitran Chandas, and I'm also going to ask you a question here. So in these two verses, 11.45 and 46, Arjuna is making a request. Megha, are you able to read 45, 46 translation? Okay, I think Megha is not there. Deepa, 45, 46 translation. Deepa Singh, Deepa Lal. Deepa?
Oh, sorry, Prabhuji, I didn't know how to unmute, sorry.
Okay, good.
Okay, O universal form, O thousand-armed Lord, I wish to see you in your four-arm form
First,
with...
45 and 46.
Oh, sorry, Prabhuji, sorry. After seeing this universal form, which I've never seen before, I am gladdened by this time. My mind is disturbed with fear. Therefore, please bestow your grace upon me and reveal again your form as it is, as the personality of Godhead, O Lord of Lords, O abode of the universe. O universal form, O thousand-armed Lord, I wish to see you in your four-arm form, which with helmet head, and with club, wheel, conch, and lotus flower in your hands. I long to see you in that form.
So Arjuna's request is very important. We'll hear from His Grace Chaitanya Chandas, and His Grace Chaitanya Chandas will explain the difference about the bigness. That universal form is so huge that we think in the material world that big is better. For example, I may have a small size TV and then I bring a bigger size TV. So I think big is better. And similarly, I have only few channels. Earlier, it used to be only few channels. And then I get some way of getting thousands of channels. So I think that more is better. But here, Arjuna's request is completely opposite. That he says, oh, universal form. No, I don't want to see the universal form. I actually want to see the four-handed Vishnu form, and I want to see the two-handed loving Shyam Sundar form. This is a very, very important request that Arjuna is making. Let's hear directly from his guest Chaitanya Chandas on this point. Make notes, it's only a 2-minute lecture.
Is very rare and special, but still I am fearful. Tadeva me darshaya. Please show me, my dear Lord, darshaya deva rupam. Oh God, show me the form. Which form? Prasid devesha jagan nivasa. So, please show me your form. Now, which form? Tadeva me darshaya deva rupam. Deva rupam means your form as the Prabhupada as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So here you show me the Vishwarupa. I'm grateful to you for that. But please show me your form as the Supreme Lord. So the point here is, this request is significant. And normally in this world, big is thought to be better. If somebody has a TV with 2 channels, and then the person gets a TV with 100 channels, when you will people say that, oh please, I don't want to give me this TV with 2 channels. Generally the more it is, the better it is. That's not how the idea is in material world. So if somebody has seen a form of God with 2 hands, and now after you see a hand form with hundreds, thousands of hands. So now you wonder, the bigger is better, isn't it? Such an awesome form. But as Prabhupada said, a devotee is not interested in godless display of opulence. You can't reciprocate love with that. So therefore Arjuna is saying, please show me your form as the Supreme Personality of God. Please have mercy on me. O Prasida Devesha Jagan Nivasa. You are the Lord of the universe, so please show me that form, normal form. So now it is described that actually he is asking for the Surya Chaturbhuja. So that request comes in the next verse. So what does he want to do? He wants to, why is Arjuna asking for the Surya Chaturbhuja? Actually he wants to make sure that there is no doubt about the divinity of Krishna. So yes, Krishna shows the Virat Rupa and Krishna shows the Vishnu Rupa also. In that way it's clear that whatever other forms are there, Krishna can manifest all those forms. And in that sense, Krishna is the original Supreme Personality of Godhead, that is established. So Arjuna wants to establish that beyond any ambiguity.
Okay, somebody please explain, what did you hear? Somebody? Sumnima?
Hare Krishna. So normally, big is better. Big is thought as better in the material world. But when God showed his big opulence form, devotees generally find it very difficult to love in that form. So his original form is where devotees can love him easily.
Yeah, very good. Ritu?
After seeing the Vishwarupa, universal form, Arjun feels both awed and overwhelmed. He recognizes Krishna's unlimited opulence. He says, "You are everything, past, present, future." But then he makes a specific plea: please show me that form of yours again, the gentle personal form, Devarupa.
Yeah, very good. So, okay, last Monarch Prabhu, go ahead.
Hare Krishna, a devotee is not interested in godless opulences, but more inclined towards the original form of Shyam Sundar.
Okay, very good. So, yes, first the Shyam Sundar form transformed into the universal form. Then the universal form transforms into the four-handed Vishnu form. And then the four-handed Vishnu form transforms back to Krishna's original Shyam Sundar form, because Arjuna is setting a standard that tomorrow if somebody says I am God, well then show me universal form, show me four-handed form, and then transform back to the Shyam Sundar form. This is the reason why Arjuna asked Krishna to reveal the universal form. Otherwise, Arjuna is not interested. Arjuna has higher vision of seeing Krishna in his original Shyam Sundar form at pure devotional level. So from verse number 47 onwards, we'll cover in our next class that it's section 7. It's a little heavier section. So I sent in the chat this template. If you didn't get it, then get it from me or Sumnima. So print this, or if you want Excel, I gave you Excel also. So print or use the Excel to populate. It's a very important that you have it, because 12.12 is the single most complex verse of Bhagavad Gita. A simple read does not even make you understand the complexity. So we will discuss that at great length. And at the start, I made a request to all of you that I tried to join my own Srimad Bhagavatam study course separately so that the batches don't get impacted. But it is very heavy on me because my Bhakti Vaibhav Srimad Bhagavatam study course, the classes are Fridays 9:30 p.m. to 12 midnight Toronto time, and then Saturdays I have classes. Then Saturday again 9:30 to 12 midnight I have again the Bhagavatam study class, and then Sundays I have class. So it's kind of little not manageable for me to sustain this for more than 1 year. So I will have to change the class times. So take a snapshot of what you have. Everybody should please respond to me within the next couple of days that which option works best for you. So one option which is not there on the screen is Toronto time Friday 8:30 p.m., which will be India time 6 a.m. So you can please consider, which is not a bad option to think of, and we'll go on. So right now I'm not changing times. I'm only gathering information because this also impacts the batch 1 and 2. And provided I shift my Bhakti Vaibhav Bhagavatam study course to this other batch where I completed the first part. So we'll see. So everybody, please try to respond to me within the next 2 days. And those of you hearing recordings should also try to respond as well as consider to join the classes at the revised times. So we are just about at 11:45, just past 11:45 here Toronto time. We will stop here. Hare Krishna.